Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. This is going to be a quick one today, but I just wanted to bring your attention that there's a difference between policies and procedures at the school board. Now, there was an MPP named Donna Skelly, and she had a conversation with the Hamilton Wentworth District School Board Chair, and in this conversation, in this audio clip that was released by journalist Catherine Cronas, and I consider her a journalist because she's on top of what's going on in the schools, and she released this clip about a conversation that they're having where the chair is basically trying to clarify on what procedures and what policies are. So Catherine pointed out that according to this clip, trustees can't influence procedures. Unelected staff decide them, sidelining elected trustees. So listen to the very confusing distinction between a board policy and procedure. Does this sound democratic? So that's a great observation. I'm gonna play this audio clip so you can hear what's happening.
Parents, and I'll start with, I guess, the first one would be, how did the board, when did you make the decision to implement policy 5.4, and how did you communicate this with parents, to parents? I don't know.
I'll start. I think I can answer that. So I have to clarify, this is not a policy. This is a procedure. And so while trustees set policy, and we've approved our human rights policy, or I believe it's actually got a different name, back in the spring, that's very high level, right? So that is, we will follow the Ontario Human Rights Code. It sets out the guiding principles for what we will do, the commitments we make as a board, but it doesn't get into granular details about how that happens at the school level. Procedures are set by staff. They are not approved by trustees. They are not vetted by trustees, but they flow out of the policy. So this procedure was developed by staff. Trustees were informed about it and just shared the link. We didn't have any training, didn't have any meeting to review it, because that is not our standard process. And so there is staff training. This has not actually been implemented, or at least the new procedure hasn't been implemented and will be this fall. There's the intent to have sessions to allow families and parents to ask questions leading into the fall, so that they understand what the impact may or may not be for their child and what this looks like at the school level. And if there needs to be any accommodations, if there's something that they're not comfortable with, I would say the shared use of washrooms, regardless of gender or based on gender identity, would be one of the concerns that I've heard from families. Well, we do have single-use washrooms, and that may be something that can be done to accommodate someone who's not comfortable with that. But that's the plan going forward. Procedures are not something that families or the community are consulted on. We consult at the policy level, which, again, I know from a trustee's perspective, sometimes it's frustrating that it's so up in the clouds, pie in the sky, like it's not detailed. I come from healthcare where these things are married together, where you set a policy and a procedure, but they are unique and distinct in our world where we're a governance board.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, Dawn, and may I call you Dawn? Or
yes.
Should I call you Chair? Okay, thank you. Please call me Donna. Does it not state on the board website it is policy 5.4?
No, it's a procedure.
It is a procedure. Okay.
To clarify, perhaps, Don, the procedure 5.4 or policy 5.4 is the overarching equity policy, and then the procedure that we're talking about today is the gender procedure.
Sorry, can you clarify that, Graham? It's 5.4 references what?
So we have policies and then procedures fit within them, but the procedures are developed by staff, and the policies are sort of approved. Not sort of, they are approved by the trustees. I don't know, Don, apologies for jumping in there.
No. So we have policies that are set by the board, and then procedures that fall under that. So it would be listed with the policy, but this what you're speaking about is a procedure.
So you can think of procedures as specific instructions that must be followed to a T, and these procedures are derived from policies. When it comes to procedures, the public has no input. So this is what they're referring to as the unelected people. They are the ones that are setting the procedures. But the Board of Trustees talk about the policies. And like I said, the procedures are derived from the policies. So at the Waterloo District School Board, there's a procedure, and remember, this must be followed exactly, called AP 1235, which states the following. The student's self-identification is the sole measure of their gender. A school shall not disclose the student's gender status to the student's parent or guardians without the student's explicit prior consent. Doing so can potentially put a student's well-being and safety at risk. Students have the right to a safe change room that corresponds to their gender identity. Of course, this also applies to washrooms, and this also applies to sports, where boys can go in the girls' change rooms, washrooms, and play in sports. So procedures must be followed, and as you can see, the procedures at the Waterloo District School Board, and it's not just at the Waterloo District School Board, but all over Canada, these procedures are upheld by the directors of education, and they must be followed exactly. So let me know what you think about that. It should be a little bit concerning that unelected people can write procedures that must be followed exactly, and that parents have no input in this, and these things are not debated. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and you should be contacting your trustees on this, and you should be contacting your director of education. And at the Waterloo District School Board, that's Gioan Chanika, and I think if he's upholding procedures that drive a wedge between parents and students, and if he's basically promoting boys going to the girls' change rooms and the self-ID stuff, this stuff is unacceptable, and I think a director like that needs to resign immediately. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know. See you in the next one.